not merely seeing reality, it is touching the truth.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Chronic Gamer. My name is Matt, and this is my final thoughts and redirect for One Piece, episode 73 through 77. So go ahead, click the link in the description, check that out, come back here, let me know what you think in the comments section. If you're watching this on YouTube and you want to see next week's reaction video, check out my Patreon. The link is also in the description. Over there, I do early access videos for all of the series on YouTube except for My Hero Academia. And I post them right after I post the current YouTube video, usually within 24 hours or so, depending on what's going on. Okay, so we pretty much continued right where we left off on Little Garden, the island in the Grand Line that's on the way to Alabasta. And I said at the beginning of the reaction video that I thought that things were a little silly, and especially like the powers of the devil's fruits and stuff were a little silly, like half of them were. And I do stand by that, although towards the end of this reaction video, I really warmed up to this, the goings-on the island. Basically, we left off last time with the two giants, Dory and something. I forget their names. I think one of them was Dory with like two R's. But for whatever reason, a long time ago, like 100 years ago, they started fighting each other, and their pride won't let them not fight each other, and they've just been living on this island fighting. And if you recall, at the end of the last reaction, basically, he drank a bunch of alcohol given to him by the other guy. The taller one drank alcohol given to him by the fatter one, and basically it blew up inside of him. And we weren't sure exactly why, but it turns out that it was Mr. 3 who did that, but I'll get to that in a second. So anyways, the big dude goes out to fight the fat dude, and Luffy is trying to get him to stop, telling him, oh, you know, it's not fair anymore. You've been fighting this guy for 100 years. It's just not fair for you to go out there and fight him because you've been weakened, and we got to find out who did it to you. And basically, he was like, nah, I'm going to go out there anyways and fight him because that's who he is, which was pretty cool if you think about it, because he's from like a warrior clan or whatever, what do they call him? The Elfend or I forget exactly the name of the clan. It was like the Elrond or the Elfend or something like that. But anyways, he went out there anyways, and he got his butt kicked. The fat dude seemingly killed him, although it turns out he didn't in the end. But I'll get to that. He seemingly killed him, and then they were immediately ambushed by Mr. 3, Miss Golden Week, Miss All Sunday? No. There's so many different names. Mr. 5, Mr. 3, Miss Golden Week, and then the other one. I don't think it's All Sunday. I think All Sunday might be Mr. Zero's partner, but I'm not 100% on that. I'm forgetting the girl's name who flies up really high with the umbrella, makes herself really light, and then makes herself heavy and drops on people. I'm forgetting who that is, but either way, y'all know who I'm talking about. They all show up, and it turns out that Mr. 3's got this cool gum ability that like turns him into wax and stuff. I still stand by that it's weird as fuck. I call them gum. I keep calling it gum ability, and I'm sorry. I don't know why I keep doing that. I catch myself sometimes, but I mean devil's fruit ability. But anyways, he's got this devil's fruit power that allows him to turn his whole body into wax and like manipulate the wax, which is really weird and doesn't make any sense if you think about it. But nonetheless, it is his power. And his goal is to try to take them all out and collect the bounties on their heads, the big giants as well as Luffy. And he tries to encapsulate them in wax. And at first, he has to fight Luffy, and Luffy was stuck under the rock, but when he shows up, he goes to fight him, and basically tries to stop him from covering everybody, and just a bunch of silliness. It was a pretty cool fight, but yeah, he kind of made things a little worse. He knocked over the big rotating whatever that is, and it turns out that made it easier for Mr. 3 to cover everybody in wax, and they had to then rely on Usopp, who came through, if you ask me. He gets the shakes a little bit, he second guesses himself a lot, but that's part of his character. But he always seems to come through in the end. And he wrapped the, whatever that is, the cake, the wax cake, up with like some oil-soaked rope and lit it on fire. And in one of the most badass scenes that I've seen so far, Nami and Vivi come out like the Charlie's Angels, ready to fight. And then Zoro busts through like the ultimate badass and just wins the whole fight. It was really cool, actually. Yeah, he won the whole fight and basically was able to, with the help of Luffy, he was able to, not Luffy, with the help of Usopp and the Flames, they were able to bust out and basically win the whole thing, and sent them on their way, I guess, with their tails tucked between their legs. I don't know where they're going. I guess they might be heading over to Alabasta now. Yeah. The whole time, I kind of forgot about Sanji as well, because we really haven't seen him, and it turns out he was still trying to hunt to see if he was a better hunter than Zoro, and he came across like this little shack with Mr. 3 made, and he got a phone call from Mr. Zero. I think Mr. Zero might be called the Crocodile. If I'm remembering correctly. I know he had two names, and Mr. Zero wasn't one of them, and in this episode they called him Crocodile, so I'm not sure if that was his other name or if that's just something else, but I think that's what they were calling him. But anyways, he called, and he thought that Mr. 3 was talking to Mr. 3, and he basically told him exactly what his plans were, so now they know where they're going. He found the log post to get him there, and they're on their way to Alabasta to stop them in what I'm sure is going to be a pretty spectacular fight. We've gotten to see a little bit of Mr. Zero. We didn't really see him too much, but we saw like a silhouette and a little bit of facial features. But one thing that I remember the most was the fact that he was able to disintegrate that rose with his bare hand, kind of like Decay in My Hero Academia. So I'm a little nervous. He may be a lot more of a badass than we've encountered so far, and this may be a tough one for the gang, but I'm sure they're going to figure it out one way or another, and I'm sure it's going to be spectacular. So really looking forward to seeing how that plays out. But yeah, in the end, I ended up really liking this arc. The two giants, they realize that they're best friends, and even though they still are going to continue to fight each other, that's just who they are in their blood, and that's how they get along and how they interact with each other. And everyone knows that, and it was cool to see the big fat one, and I'm forgetting their names again. I'm sorry. I know one of them is Dory, but I'm forgetting the other one. But anyways, he's crying. He thought he killed him, and it turns out he didn't really kill him, and they came back to life, or woke up or whatever. And now they get to fight each other again for, who knows, another 100 years or so. And yeah, I really did like that. It was cool to see that. And for him to realize, hey man, even though we've had our differences and we've been fighting, you're actually my best friend. This is how we get along. This is how we relate. And this is, I would hate to not get up every morning and fight you, is basically the moral of those two. But anyways, yeah. Oh, one more thing I want to talk about is the colored girl who can manipulate the emotions or whatever through her color and her special seal that she wrote. I thought that was a pretty cool ability. I'm not sure if that was a devil's fruit power or if that's just some sort of power that she has, but I actually really liked that. Even though it wasn't used a lot, it was definitely a good stalling technique, and very curious to see if they do more with that. Maybe in the rest of this arc we'll get to see her fight more, because I'm pretty sure her and Mr. 3 are still alive. I don't know if Mr. 3 was killed. I know that it seems like the bad luck or whatever they were called. What are those called? The unluckies. I think they were killed by Sanji. So I'm not sure if Zoro actually killed Mr. 3 or not. I don't think that he killed the girl, Miss Golden Week. I don't know. I'm sorry. The girls' names especially are harder for me to remember because they're weird. But anyways, I really liked her ability, and it would be cool to see them flesh that out a little more. I hope they do. I don't know if they will, but that would be cool. Other than that, I don't think there's really much else I can say. I really like these episodes, and this series is definitely fantastic, as weird as it is, with the snail phones and the devil's fruit powers. I really do like it. I think it is one of the most unique, if not the most unique, that I've ever seen. The artwork and the storytelling is just, it's different than anything that I've ever seen. I thought that I've seen it all with types of anime, but for sure this is definitely its own thing, and I can see why it's so popular. The character development, the way that the characters are portrayed is just so... You can tell that this is the mangaka's style. Like, this is the way he writes his characters. And I really like it. I can't wait to see what other stuff they get into. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. And until next time, I'm Chronic Gamer. Peace.